Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Hey, pleasant good Friday afternoon. Well, to us, it's Friday. Sorry. Tomorrow at this time, you'll be getting the Crimson. It's not as if I have the day off tomorrow, Jackson, all right? I've got UH Charger baseball. That will start at 3 o'clock. That'll be on Zone 2. By the way, I've got 6 games going on this weekend. So, all over the place. Hockey, softball, baseball. So, check out our apps and our multiple zone channels. I think, let me think about this. I'm going to be on Zone 2, Zone 3, and Zone 4 this weekend. So please feel free to partake of our app. How are you, West Neighbors?
Doing good.
Pro Day was today, and there was quite a few things to take away from the videos that I saw. What was there? Did you see a lot of Pro Day today?
No, I got a report that said Bryce Young looked unbelievable.
There's another specimen at Pro Day today.
Yeah, but the guy that stole DJ Fluker stole the show.
DJ Fluker.
He my report said he about to. They had 2 current offensive linemen. Who are they? Ekiyor and the boy from Vanderbilt. He like to kill them. Steen. When they were holding both of them to the ground when he fired off the ball and hit them. That's how you're supposed to come off the ball. He used to come off the ball now. You know, his whole thing was that step, and then you get hurt in the NFL, and he had trouble with the step, and I mean he might have got himself a job today. I mean
Kimbo Slice.
Well, yeah, I mean he's old though, you know. And I guess Auburn's Pro Day was yesterday or today too.
It was on Tuesday.
Yeah, and
Cam.
Yeah, Cam thinks he's one of the top 32 quarterbacks, and here's the issue:
Jackson wasn't listening to us until we said Auburn.
I know that's how you get his attention when you
occasionally sprinkling an Auburn
thing. But Cam's problem is he can't has a hard time being a backup quarterback, and you're not going to get a starting job when you really haven't. The last time he was won a game was in 4 years ago. Something like that as quarterback. He was 0-7 his last 7 starts. Then you go look at guy was a great quarterback, but he was all pro in 2015. That's 8 years ago. So you know, to me you got to say, yeah, I mean I just want to go help a team, not be despair. Who wants that on your team, right? When you sign him, you want a guy that is going to come in and be a backup and then win the job. Because, listen, that's how you're going to win a job anyway, is come in, be a backup, and all of a sudden you look, he's looking over there. He knows I'm right. He was doing the calculations. Like
I actually think that Cam isn't a starting quarterback because his shoulder is destroyed.
That might be the truth. I mean, listen, it's age. I'm not saying he was a great quarterback. It
was the undoing for luck
of everybody.
I mean,
it's of everybody. You played, you can't.
Shoulders
you can't
are
play
nothing
anymore.
To screw.
But it's and guess what? Those guys still hitting you. That's why you go in and hold a clipboard. You be a team guy. You go in there and you get your shot. Then you prove yourself, and you're back in there. That's what you do. Listen, Don Strock played 14 years and held out, and then that's how he lost his job.
Felt like he majored in cigarettes.
He came in, he could win. Yeah, he did. He smoked cigarettes pretty beer after every practice. I was there. So the guy, but that's what I'm saying. I think he proves the point when he starts. He's going to come in there and shake things up. They don't want that.
Yeah.
They want a team player. They want a good locker room. They don't want somebody trying to divide the team to try to get the job, and because nobody's going to give Cam Newton a starting job because the last 4 years he hasn't started. I agree with him. I think he's probably one of the best 32 guys, but nobody's going to, they got 3 or 4 guys they're going to hire as quarterbacks, and if you want a job, you're not going to get a starting. Nobody's going to put their hat on you anymore. That's not going to happen. They're not going to give you the raise.
Coming up on the program today, Richard Hendricks is going to join us in about 20 minutes' time. We'll talk some hoops. He was actually up in Nashville for that quarterfinal matchup between UAB and Vanderbilt as the Blazers move on to Vegas for the Final Four there for the NIT. And we'll also talk about the Sweet 16 matchups going on as the first one is set to tip at 5:30 on TBS between Michigan State and Kansas State. That'll be followed by Arkansas and UConn. That'll tip at 6:15. That'll be on CBS here locally. That's Channel 19. And then later on tonight, it's FAU and Tennessee, otherwise known as the Lane Kiffin matchup between the Owls and the Vols. And Gonzaga and UCLA round out the night.
They need to play on the opening thing. They need to play Lane's
little answer from earlier in the week.
Yeah, the little Go Owls. They need to play that right before the guys are both coming out, and they do the Go Owls thing. That's what they need to play.
I'm sorry I don't have that queued up immediately.
That'd be awesome.
This is worth the wait, ladies and gentlemen, because you know exactly what I'm about to play, because this needs to happen for the Lane Kiffin matchup tonight between FAU. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Owl Nation. This is Coach Kiffin. What an exciting time.
Yes, it is.
Next week is National Signing Day.
Yes.
As we sign some of the best players in America.
That stadium looks so good.
Some of the best fans in America. So please join us next week for this exciting season.
You can tell he's
come
reading
watch
it.
the Owls.
Look
Have a great year in a championship run starting
most
with
awkward Go Owls everywhere.
Go Owls.
Commit to the Owls.
If we ever get the Easter Bunny on, I'm going to ask him how many takes was that there, Coach?
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll remember vividly. Okay. There was one other thing that piqued my curiosity today. We've obviously gone through quite a bit of Hugh Freeze and his first go-around down at Auburn. It's also the first year for Coach Prime up in Boulder, Colorado. And Coach Prime is going old school. And when I say old school, players are getting blank jerseys. They're not even getting numbers on their jerseys this spring. They just went through their third practice, and Coach was asked about that.
I'm old school. Anybody here over 45? Didn't we have to earn every darn thing we got? Ain't nobody gave us nothing. So this whole new thing, first of all, we got this new thing now in college football about double numbers. We didn't have. If somebody gave you a double number in college, that assured that you weren't gonna play. That's how it was, wasn't it? Now it's like normal, and you gotta earn stuff. Ain't nobody giving you nothing. We got kids ain't played a snap, and you want to be one. You know what number one meant back in the day for us? That you were that one. Now you got number one getting the frame tore out of him out there on the field. Like, come on, you got to be crazy. Now it's a fight in the stands because the mama's wearing number one and her son, her baby's getting murdered out there. Like, come on. Like, it's just a new day. Single digits was something you had to be him. You had to be him. Now you got linemen wanting zeros and threes. Okay, if I give a lineman that number, the DB or the receiver or the running back can't take that big number. So now I got a deficit of numbers. So all this stuff is strategic, but I'm old school, man. I come from the place you got to earn it. My school closed I went school shopping. I had to get a job and work and earn that. And that's why I appreciate those kind of things. That's why my kids have to earn things. Everything they've gotten in life, they had to earn it and work for it. So I don't give them nothing. If you know me and how I parent, you would understand that they don't get handed nothing. They had to earn it.
That is Coach Prime. Earning numbers up in Boulder.
Man, I like it. I'm not against it. I like it. I mean, so the more I listen to Coach Prime, the more I like him.
He does not like spring break in the middle of spring practice.
No, it's not a positive. It's not a positive. It's like when you love something, do you want to break from it? You don't want to break from it, then come up and try to recant where you left off at. That's not. Take a break on your honeymoon. Then come back and try to make it happen. It ain't the same. All right, so I don't like it in betwixt because, these are young men, different maturation levels. So some people you tell don't go out there and do the A, B, C, and D, and they do it anyway because you told them not to. They got to still touch the oven and see if it's hot. Some guys are going to work their butts off and stay in shape and lift and make sure they come back prepared because they know it's a lot at stake for the spring for them personally. But no, I would never fall in love with having a break in betwixt spring practices, not whatsoever.
Some ovens are hotter than others, to use that analogy, but not a fan of spring break right in the middle of spring practice is Coach Prime.
I get that too. It's hard to come back and you're trying to work and get your intensity right. You're trying to every practice get a little better, and all of a sudden you take a week off.
Yeah,
it's not easy to come back and start where you left off. It just isn't, and you can't. Hardly ever. It takes a couple of days to get re-going. It's like any time you don't practice for a week. Most you should go without practicing is 3 days, and really 2 days. And
he countered it up and said, "You guys think it's 5 days? It's 9 days because of the weekend before and the weekend of. It's a total of 9 days in between."
Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah, he's right. Yeah.
Nick Saban did speak at the Pro Day today. A lot of people are playing this. I'll just get this out of the way.
Coach, do you want to clarify the wrong place, wrong time comment from the presser on Monday? That had anything to do with Nados?
There's nothing to clarify. I don't watch basketball coaches' press conferences. I've never watched a basketball. How many years have I been coaching? Never watched one. Never listen to what other people say. That was strictly about our program and what we do. Had nothing to do with anybody else. I don't make any comments about anybody else, and we hope the basketball team does really, really well.
What's that, Jackson? What's that?
I said lies.
God, poor Jackson.
Wow.
I know it. Poor Jackson.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it.
You know what? So, to your point, what is something else that we know about Nick Saban? What is this, year 16 in Tuscaloosa?
He wins championships. That's what we know for sure.
No hypothetical questions. No hypothetical questions. But could Bryce be a day one starter in the NFL, Coach?
Well, you're asking me a hypothetical question that I think Bryce is capable of doing that, but I also think that, as I tell young players that come in our program, you don't want to really put somebody in a position where they're not ready to have success and create value for themselves. So, and I don't think anybody can predict anybody's actual development. But if anybody's capable of doing it, Bryce could.
Did he not answer a hypothetical question?
He
right
did.
there?
He does it, but he had of a former players. Yeah. Former players. So, yeah, not on his team, but of former teams. He's going to put the best light on his players he can that deserve it. Always has, always will. I mean, he defended Reuben Foster in that telltale happening at the combine. But wasn't that a telltale event? I mean, Reuben's trying to make a comeback right now in the XFL or USFL, one of the two. And he actually took a poll on whether he should go out there because he's been out of the league now for 1 year for injury, and nobody would sign him the last 2 years because of his past problems. Who can blame him? Actually, you got to get somebody you can depend on. Guys, one heck of a talent. I voted for him to do it, and he ended up doing it. So I don't know if how many people voted, but the only way he's going to get back in there is just to shine, and prove that he can stay out of trouble.
256-576-4977 is the telephone number if you'd like to participate. Coach Saban was asked several times about Bryce, but only one time at the end about some guy named Will Anderson.
Well, he's got great size. He's got great ability. He's a very good pass rusher. But you're talking about a guy that's a great person, has throwback competitive character in terms of toughness, work ethic, great leadership, doing all the things that you would want any player on your team to do to play winning football and help other people on your team play winning football. So I can't say enough good things about Will Anderson.
That was Josh right there at the end, interrupting Coach Saban at the tail end of his answer. But nonetheless, it's good to hear from Josh, I guess. There was one answer in particular that I thought was a bit eye-opening, because there is one line of questioning that is starting to pick up more momentum the more press conferences I'm hearing from coaches, and that is that NIL is actually keeping players on campuses more, and that it has affected this NFL draft. But what say you, Coach Saban?
Well, I would argue in the other direction that we had a couple guys that went out that maybe should have considered staying. But my philosophy hasn't changed. If you're a first-round draft pick, you should go out. If you're a second-round draft pick and you can't improve your draft status, you should go out. Otherwise, you should stay in school. And I don't know if everybody that's going out for the draft is going to be in that situation. I'm hopeful that they are, but I don't know that some of the pre-draft info we got supports that.
So maybe NIL not keeping the players on campus as many reporters, because the way the questions are getting worded to these coaches, it's as if, Wes, they've already written their story.
Of course. We know that to be the fact.
Looking for that answer to plug into said story.
And we know that's the fact, so no question.
Let's squeeze in Jeremy before our first time out, and Richard Hendricks going to talk some NCAA tournament basketball with us on the other side of our first time out. How are you, Jeremy?
I'm good, guys. I'm good. It's so great to hear these questions and answers from Nick Saban. I wonder how he would react if I saw the news that the NCAA suspended Ferris State coach Tony Anese for two cigars being smoked while he was in a press conference by his players.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if the week after Tennessee, Alabama, and Alabama won, that Saban was getting suspended for a game because his players were smoking cigars in the locker room after the ball game? I mean, that what would Joe Burrow do if he was still playing? I mean, he wouldn't be. He'd be in trouble. He'd smoke a cigar after every ball game.
I don't think he was at the podium. He was in the locker room smoking a cigar.
So was he smoking? So was
the coach was smoking at the podium?
He was smoking at the podium. Okay.
Yeah.
I
know, but it's ridiculous. It really is.
It shows the lack of just what the NCAA does. I mean, it's like we're going to punish you for this, but that's Alabama, that's Tennessee, that's LSU, that's this big school that draws in all this money. We're not going to worry about them and say that, because the way I've always understood it is that the tobacco, even when you go to a ball game, I mean, those signs are everywhere. It says no tobacco on the premises, and it's not just because this was at a high school, which it's banned at. It's banned on all college campuses too.
Yeah. And if you've been to a college game recently, that rule is massaged a little bit. There are certain games I've gone to recently where there's a cloud above One in particular was that Tennessee-Alabama game.
Well, I like to call it the Stretch Armstrong rule because it's kind of bendy. And you never know when it's going to be enforced and when it's not. I mean, they may decide next year that when Alabama wins, they may crack down on them and say, hey, what are y'all doing smoking cigars in here?
Well,
I mean, it's just
they're not
crazy.
cracking down on the locker room. They're cracking down on the podium.
Well, once if is this school, is it like a powerhouse in that division?
Yeah,
Or
they've
is
won
this
back-to-back. Yeah, they're the reigning Division II champs, Ferris State.
So I think he's probably going to think, well, next year I'm okay with this one-game suspension if that's all you're going to do. I mean, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be back, and be contenders for another one.
Probably.
But guys, thank you very much. I appreciate y'all taking the phone call. Man, I really enjoyed the show, and I'm glad that I get to listen more now.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I've missed talk radio. I worked in another area where they had it and they took it away. And sports talk, I love hearing it because you guys, I like y'all's show especially because y'all have a little bit more knowledge. It seems like than some of these other guys out there that don't really know what they're talking about. They don't, they give an opinion about something that they never. And I really appreciate y'all because y'all's answers and y'all's questions to your guests and your answers to each other, and topics are well thought through, and your presentation is really good. So
thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. I would invite Jeremy to listen to last night's last segment of the show. See what he has to say on the rebuttal of that one. Let's take our first time out.
Man, when I say the obvious, y'all just can't leave it alone.
Chinese food tonight.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
There's something most of us fail to think about until something goes wrong, and that's our home's heating system. Hello, friends. My name is Rick Smith.
And I'm Cooper Constant here with Environmental Comfort Systems.
Heating and air conditioning failures can be one of the most inconvenient and worrisome events in any homeowner's life.
That's why we created our Comfort Care Club. Our members receive 2 scheduled maintenance visits per year, working around your schedule and not ours.
Regularly scheduled maintenance on your home's heating system helps us find small issues before they become bigger and more expensive issues.
Even if you didn't purchase your system from us, our team of well-trained technicians can service and maintain your system, and we're just a quick phone call away. Becoming a Comfort Care Club member is as simple as calling us or visiting our website.
Give us a call today. Environmental Comfort Systems, your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. You can also visit us online at envcomfort.com.
With over 100 F-150s to choose from and available financing as low as 0%, now is the perfect time to put one in your driveway. It's Truck Month at Woody Anderson Ford. Hi, Bobby White back again, inviting you to come on in for the best selection of F-150s we've had in a while. And if you find one that you like, there is no payment for 90 days. Also during Truck Month, not only do you get 0% financing for up to 36 months, but we've also got 2.9% financing for 5 years on remaining 22 models with your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. This offer ends April 4th. And don't forget, we make it really easy for you to trade in and trade up on a Ford Blue Advantage Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned vehicle. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and you take it home with a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Hurry on in for Truck Month. 0% financing, no payments for 90 days, and over 100 F-150s to choose from. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough we can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Find your rhythm and feed your rhythm at Rhythm on Monroe in downtown Huntsville. Located inside the VBC, Rhythm features crafted cocktails, local and seasonal beers, specialty wines, and seasonal cuisine, like the fresh-baked crab dip with kettle chips, fresh spiral lasagna with basil marinara, black Angus char-grilled filet with truffle butter, or one of Chef Becky Vibbard's seasonal desserts like the warm peach cobbler with vanilla bean ice cream. Serving dinner daily or weekend brunch. View the menu and make reservations at rhythmonmonroe.com.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Back here with you on The Drive. Sweet 16 about to tip it up. Got a lot of basketball to talk about with our next guest, who is Richard Hendricks, who's kind enough to join us. How are you this evening, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're a busy man, and let's start up in Nashville with what you saw between the Blazers and Commodores up there.
Yeah, I am. I'm everywhere the ball's bouncing, even out here in the yard trying to play with my kids.
Nice.
The ball's bouncing everywhere. So
nice.
But, yeah, I had a chance last night to firsthand check out the NIT quarterfinal with, UAB and Vanderbilt. I was actually surprised to see that UAB really was able to handle Vanderbilt. I've been in the call for several times with SEC Network on the call for Vanderbilt games, and Jerry Stackhouse really has some things rolling with his squad. But last night it was all about the Blazers. They played really good basketball. They controlled the tempo, and they were able to rebound and defend. And Vanderbilt wasn't able to knock down shots when they needed to. And it wasn't any Memorial magic last night, but the Blazers were able to get it done.
Man, it was quite the effort there from Andy Kennedy's squad. And all of a sudden, Conference USA, they're performing awfully well in postseason play.
Yeah, they are. You got FAU in the Sweet 16 tonight against another SEC opponent, and UAB 3-0 against the SEC this season.
Jeez.
A signature win for them to get to the Final Four of the NIT bracket. That's huge for head coach Andy Kennedy and the UAB Blazers, and they have a good chance with the way that the bracket is lining up that it can be anyone's tournament in the NIT.
Well, let's move over to the big dance and tell me what you think about these 16 teams before they tip it up tonight.
Well, I would say the same thing about the NCAA Sweet 16. It really can be anyone's. I mean, but you have to start with Alabama. They have the ability, they have the talent, they have the depth, they have the ability to shoot from outside, score in the interior, and more than anything, what they're able to do is lock you down defensively. They have length in every position, and they understand a game plan of really disrupting opposing offenses. So Alabama, when they're on their game, they're going to be a tough out in this tournament. But, when it comes to the Sweet 16, you don't get this far in the season without being a quality team. So I wouldn't look past anyone if I was the Crimson Tide, because San Diego State can defend as well, and that's going to be a tough one for them in Louisville.
It really is. Defensively, a game that happened back in Maui between San Diego State and Arkansas was pushed to overtime, and if Bama's not shooting well from beyond the arc, this does kind of feel like maybe that 70-point type of sweet spot that I know San Diego State would want.
Well, that's true, but I do think with Alabama, they have a team where, of course, it's fun to watch them when they're knocking down shots from outside and they can get rolling and really not hit down threes in a flurry and extend their lead. But this is a team that showed multiple times this season that they can win a game in the 60s and maybe even in the 50s. Because their defense is just so good. They can defend and switch with their versatility. They have a real 7-footer with Charles Bediako in the interior, protect the rim. And also with Nick Pringle, who had 19 and 15 in the opening round in the NCAA tournament, shows that he's a force defensively and under the goal, too, for Alabama. So it's not just can they have a shootout. They can win in many ways, but I think that every team is going to try to slow the game down against Alabama because they believe that might be the recipe to get it done. But it's much easier said than done. But, anything can happen in the tournament.
How much better is this team than the team that made the run 2 years ago, led by Herb Jones, or do you think that team, you tell me?
Well, from my eye test, I would say significantly better. I didn't get to see that team up close and personal, but the difference with that team was they had so much senior leadership and experience. Also, you have to take consideration it was a COVID season. They played a lot of games without anyone in the crowd, and that did play a role in a season where you're talking about a veteran team playing against many teams that didn't even know they were going to have a season, and you don't have fans, home court advantages. This team, for this season, I've seen them up close. They have a box office talent in Brandon Miller. They have Javon Quinterly coming back, who's playing at tip-top form, who can really do a lot of things on the perimeter. They have legitimate bigs, and they have a scoring mentality, and they've been showing that they can win in tough environments on the road. They can win in different ways by running you out of the gym, or they can grind it out. And also they've had a lot on their plate this season and been able to show that they have the maturity to be able to handle that. So I'd have to give the nod to this team, but that definitely Herb Jones, John Petty team was definitely no stiff.
There is no question about that, as Richard Hendricks joins us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. How about just from the overall scheme of things, progression-wise, what have you seen out of Coach Oates in his time in Tuscaloosa?
Well, I do think that he does a really good job when it comes to making sure that his team understands the space and the personnel in which they have. Now, listen, when it comes to sports and anything, winning games does have to do with the talent. It's not all X and O's. You got to have some Jims and Joes. And you got to give Nate Oates some credit that he has that on his roster, and the ability to put them in situations to be successful has been key. You look at the spacing in which they play, in which they utilize the way that they set their screens on pick and rolls, the way that they have balance on the exterior, exterior, and they also give the players with the skill development the license to shoot outside threes. That's something that you see with Alabama, the spacing in which they play, the angles in which they set screens, and the pace in which they go about it is what gives them an advantage. But for me, it's defensively. They really do some things that can disrupt the game. They understand they got a real 7-footer in there. They can play him in many ways with drop coverage. They fight hard to stop dribble penetration one-on-one. They fight hard on pick and roll. So there's so many things with the activity. And when you do have the talent that they have, when you see it all coming together, that's why you have a number one team in the country that's got 30 wins in a season with an opportunity to do something historical.
We don't talk a whole lot of NBA here in the state of Alabama, but if you watch Arkansas and you watch Alabama, there is some NBA DNA in those teams.
It is. And, I was at the SEC tournament in Nashville, and I talked to a lot of NBA scouts and NBA personnel, and they said Arkansas is a team that you talk about that has, 4, maybe 5 NBA talent players on the team, So as far as talent is concerned, Arkansas is a team in the league that has the same type of NBA personnel and ability as Alabama. And with that being the case, you don't want to let them get momentum and figuring it out. They struggled a lot early on in the season, but, with their ability, they can really, really, turn it on in the NCAA tournament and continue to make another Elite Eight and make it 3 straight in a row for the Hogs.
How do you size up that Arkansas-UConn matchup? I have no idea what to think about that one, Richard.
Well, UConn has a legitimate big man in the interior with Sanogo. They can ride him. They play tough as well. Arkansas with Musselman and what he's been able to do in the postseason is something that you have to take in consideration, even though this is a new team with 10 brand-new players. But as I said, they've seemed to figure it out. They had the upset win against Kansas in the second round. And when you have that type of momentum, March Madness is all about runs. And if you can continue the momentum, the confidence, then it can last game by game. And when you have pro talent on your roster, you definitely can do some big-time things. So I don't count anyone out. UConn is the team in this program or in this Sweet 16 right now that has the pedigree of winning national championships. They've won the most national championships of any collegiate program in the last 25 years. So people talk about the Blue Bloods being out. I think if you're a UConn Husky fan, you're saying we're still in it. So you can't count them out. It should be a good one with a lot of talent on display.
I actually have UConn losing to Alabama in a rematch in the finals. Who do you have in your finals?
Well, I might have some crimson-colored glasses on here, but I do have Alabama getting to the national championship game. It's hard to pick. I think in my bracket that I filled out, my team that I had them beat in the finals is already eliminated. But I do have Alabama getting to the finals.
I had Bama beating Kansas, so I'm with you.
They do have the ability that they can beat any team in the country. Now, they've had the luxury that if you look on this schedule, the teams left in the Sweet 16, they played UConn, they played Michigan State, they played Gonzaga. So the teams that they have played and some that they have beaten, some that they have lost to are still in the field. So rematch opportunities are definitely up at some point in line for Alabama if they can take care of business against San Diego State.
And they lost to Tennessee. They played Arkansas. You look at all the teams. Gonzaga. It's crazy, really.
Tennessee.
Yeah. That was the last area I wanted to go with you, Richard, was Gonzaga. It feels like that has been a dominant program for such a long time there for Coach Few. But I watched a lot of Gonzaga games this year, and it felt like they were always playing to the level of their opponents. And it bothered me in a way, but now we're at the point when you want to play your best ball, and it feels like they are playing their best ball right now.
They are, and they got a big-time player in Drew Timme, when his back to the basket, low post game, and even in the high post. He's one of the toughest players in the country. And when he's rolling, that team is very, very hard to beat. And they take the identity that he has with a little bit of the swagger in which he plays for. So, when I look at Gonzaga, this is a team just a couple years ago was in the national championship game. They have that type of chip on their shoulder where they have some unfinished business. So everyone's looking at this bracket, and they're looking at Alabama being far and away the best team. But there's plenty of teams in this field that can get it going, and Gonzaga is one of them.
Where will you be watching the game tomorrow?
I'll be tuned out. I'll be tuned in here at the house. I'm not heading up to Louisville to go check out the Sweet 16. I'd love to be in attendance, but I'm going to have to check that one out here from my setup.
Well, there's nothing wrong with home court advantage. So enjoy the time, and thank you so much for carving out some time for us today, sir.
Thank y'all for having me.
Richard Hendricks joins us. Of course, he's been all over the creation, be it on ESPN or the Crimson Tide Sports Network as well. 256-576-4977. That is the telephone number, 256-576-4977. Your games that are going on today, in fact, Michigan State and Kansas State has just tipped it up. It is tied at 5 between the Spartans and the Wildcats later on tonight. It'll be Arkansas and UConn, followed by Florida Atlantic and Tennessee. And then the nightcapper tonight, UCLA and Gonzaga to square off. That was actually of my blown-up bracket. That is actually the one side of the bracket that I did decently well in. The West, I do have Gonzaga and UCLA. I've got Gonzaga moving on to the Elite Eight, but we'll see whether or not that is tonight's Moulton kiss of death. We shall see. Let's do
Poor people.
Let's do this. Let's take our final time out here in this first hour. Jordy Arman is here in the house with us. We'll get him to sneak on up.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
With over 100 F-150s to choose from and available financing as low as 0%, now is the perfect time to put one in your driveway. It's Truck Month at Woody Anderson Ford. Hi, Bobby White back again, inviting you to come on in for the best selection of F-150s we've had in a while. And if you find one that you like, there is no payment for 90 days. Also, during Truck Month, not only do you get 0% financing for up to 36 months, but we've also got 2.9% financing for 5 years on remaining 22 models with your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. This offer ends April 4th. And don't forget, we make it really easy for you to trade in and trade up on a Ford Blue Advantage Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned vehicle. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and you take it home with a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Hurry on in for Truck Month. 0% financing, no payments for 90 days, and over 100 F-150s to choose from. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
This April, the Corn Ferry Tour returns to the Rocket City for the 2022 Huntsville Championship at the Ledges. Experience the beauty and drama of the Ledges in person as golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. From the first man on the green to the roar of the crowd when the final putt drops. Be a part of every moment on the mountain. April 28th to May 1st. Tickets to be a part of the action are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
The calendar does read March, and that means it's time for you to enjoy some Talon Heating and Air St. Patty's Day specials. And if the utility companies have been taking all the green out of your wallet, Talon Heating and Air, Thomas, has the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow to help you put it back in.
That's right. We have a special right now for all the listeners of this commercial. Get $1,000 off, in addition to excellent savings with the Bosch equipment.
It's Talon Heating and Air St. Patty's Day special, and tell them how they can ring you guys up.
That's right. They can give us a call at 256-503-4490 or at talenthvac.com.
Talon Heating and Air will have you seeing more green this March. And if you're feeling really lucky this March, make sure you join our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge presented by Talon Heating and Air. Maybe they'll have you seeing more green.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Looks like it's going to be a fantastic Thursday across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s. Some of us making a pretty solid run at 80 degrees. Only dropping into the upper 50s and lower 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. Cloud cover steadily going to increase through Friday afternoon. Temperatures climbing once again into the mid and upper 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Back here with you on the drive, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. Jordy Arman joins us, provided by Environmental Comfort Systems. You can check them out at envcomfort.com. How are you, Jordy Arman?
Good, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing real well. Well, I know the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, said back in the day that talking season starts at SEC Media Days.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the case for coaches, because the spring is usually their time to make the grand tour around. And so I found one stop that happened 2 days ago in Macon, Georgia. Kirby Smart. And he had this to say: the winningest team in sports out there. This is kind of where he goes with his speech. But the winningest team in professional sports is a rugby squad down in New Zealand called the All Blacks.
Okay.
They have won over 80% of their games, and they were founded in 1892.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a little bit of the background. Here is Georgia head football coach Kirby Smart. This is at the Macon.
I actually watched him play. The All Blacks.
The All Blacks?
Yeah, absolutely.
So here is Kirby Smart.
I don't know if he's asking Brockleby.
Oh, wait a second. That's the Q&A part. That is not what I meant to set up. Here is Kirby Smart.
All Blacks rugby team is the winningest sports team in all of history. Okay? Unbelievable winning percentage, somewhere in the high hundreds. Been doing it for over 100 years. And the All Blacks, there's a lot of pride to play on the All Blacks. And they've got a lot of mantras. But we want to sustain our success, right? So everybody says, well, it's easy to climb the mountain, but it's really hard to stay on the mountain. People always ask me that. Is it harder to stay, coach, or is it harder to climb? It's hard as hell to do both, right? I don't know anybody that says climbing a mountain's easy, right? And you get to the pinnacle or the top of the mountain, and they talk about how the wind blows harder up there. That wind's blowing all over the place, okay? It's just hard. But we studied this team, the All Blacks, and there's 4 of their mantras that we picked up that I'd like to share quickly because I know we got to get the questions, and I know half of you are ready to go home. So I'm going to share this with you. First one for us is no one is bigger than the team. Okay, do you say that, or do you actually believe that? In your place of church, in your place of work, in your house, no one's bigger than the team. I believe that with all my heart. So we go out to practice, and there's 1 minute left on the clock before we start. Every one of our players know no one's bigger than the team. I don't care who you are, how many stars you got, you're coming out there dressed and ready, and you're there on time. No one is bigger than the team, okay? That's a huge concept for us. So we had a sports psych guy come in. He said, the best way to illustrate no one's bigger than the team? You ever seen a pit crew? Ever seen a pit crew on NASCAR? They took a picture of it from above. Car coming 60 miles an hour, stops on a dime. One guy standing in front of it. He jacks it up. 4 tires. 3 people in each tire. Zoom, 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 zoom. 2 people in the back. One gassing it up. 15, 16 person pit crew. Who's the most important one? No one. No one. All of them. All of them. And when you watch what they do, you can't tell me which one's the most important one. Are y'all that way? Are you that way? Do you believe that way? No one is bigger than the team. Do you believe that? Do you live that? And would your other players on your team say that about you? All right, next one. It's an honor, not a job. That's been a big talk for us. It's an honor, not a job. Think about that for a second. Every day I go to work, I don't necessarily love to go to work, okay? And you got to catch yourself sometimes. And we did this with our players, and I challenged the guys who just got awards out here, scholarship awards and academic awards. When you look and you visualize what your dream is, and we told our players this, we said, all our players, go back to your 10th and 11th grade year in high school and visualize what you wanted. Are you not living that? Are you not living that right now? I'm talking to our players. George, are you not living that right now? But is it an honor or a job? When you go in each day, when you go to lift weights, when you go to practice, when you go to track, when you go to your extra sport, you go to your math club, you go to your quiz, is it an honor or a job? Because if you view it as a job, you're not going to do the same thing if you view it as an honor. And we really want our guys to appreciate that. I know I appreciated the opportunity to go to Georgia, and I hope that our players know it's an honor and a privilege to be able to go there, not a job. And the last 2, better never rest. You know, we say best never rest, better never rest. It never rests. So to say that you've won 2 national championships or won X amount of games in a row, all that does, every time I hear someone introduce our team, myself, our players, with that introduction, all I'm thinking about is, who's gaining on me? Are you going to sit back? Because for every pat on the back, they'll have a knife in their hand the next year. Boom, boom. Be the first ones to question you. So better never rest. And then the last one, and we were kind of on this week, is sweep the sheds. You know, I love sweep the sheds. We say it another way that I understand a little better from where I'm from. Eat off the floor. Are you willing to eat off the floor? Like, seriously, are you hungry enough to eat off the floor? Because if you're not careful, you got a nice white tablecloth, you got all that silverware, and you got all that good stuff, but are you hungry? Are you willing to go sweep the sheds? I tell my kids that all the time at home. They laugh at me. I'm like, y'all ain't done nothing. Are you willing to go sweep the sheds? Are you willing to leave it better than you found it? Will you eat off the floor? Because if you'll eat off the floor, I promise you won't have to worry about somebody on Saturday. And the minute that you're not willing to eat off the floor, somebody's going to pass you right by. And the All Blacks have used these 4 mantras to stay on top of their sport, on top of their game. And it's really cool to see them do that because they take so much honor in what they do to get to that, to achieve that. I mean, less than 1% of high school players ever play again, right? When you start talking about the SEC level, we're talking about 0.001. Very few guys get an opportunity to play in the greatest conference there is. They can't. So it's an honor, not a job, and we try to really impart that knowledge to our players so they appreciate the opportunity they get.
That is Kirby Smart.
So the same thing win that have always won. Only the excuses change. These are the same mantras, basically, that Coach Saban has, that Coach Bryant had, of how to stay hungry, how to honor the people you're playing with, and you're playing for the guy beside you. It's the same stuff, really. If you break it all down, it's the same stuff. Now, he's using it from the All Blacks, and that's a great because he couldn't borrow it from Coach Bryant or Nick. He never wouldn't have got anything from there, would he? Think about that for a minute.
Well, the common denominator is Alabama, as much as the world hates it. But
I mean, this is the same stuff that Coach Bryant said, basically, and he got it from the All Blacks because you can't say it came from Alabama. Think about it.
As soon as I heard this, and I was like, I'm going to record this, and
this is good stuff. I'm glad you played it. It's really good stuff. Kirby's done a heck of a job.
Well, he talked about bringing in a psychologist right there, too.
Right, he did that 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Best thing he ever did.
Yeah.
Because Coach Saban brought one in. And when he did that, I know that he had a good chance. They had to get over the hump. It was it's in their mind. But anyway, so I listen, Georgia's on top now.
Yep.
There's no question about it. They've won 2 national championships in a row, but only 1 SEC title. So you got to at least win 2 to be a dynasty, right? You got to win 2 SEC titles in a row to be a dynasty. Wouldn't you say that, Steve?
Wait until next year. Yeah. But let's get into the spring. What questions do you have in Tuscaloosa, Drew DeArmond?
Oh, well, there's more this year than there's been in a long time with Alabama going into the spring. You don't have an established quarterback. You had both the coordinators change. There's worry on the defensive side because of some changes that weren't made, and then some uncertainty about some changes that were. And I don't really think there should be a ton of uncertainty with Kevin Steele. There's still probably some worry about how effective he's going to be, but he was really good at Auburn. I don't even count the Miami situation because he inherited kind of a train wreck there. He also spent a year out of coaching. But again, I think when you look at personnel-wise, you don't know who your quarterback is yet. The offensive line, I think they know who the center is, but I think all the other 4 slots, there's going to be a lot of competition. There could even be some flip-flop. But I think Elijah Pritchett will probably be the left tackle, but it could be J.C. Latham. We'll see. So there could be some experimentation there. You've already got a small injury with, in a boot with, Jace McClellan. It's nothing serious, but again, in your running back room, even though Roy Dell is kind of banged up too, is still really talented. But again, you've got to get to you, and your wide receiver room lacked explosiveness a year ago. Guys like Isaiah Bond need to make progress. Malik Benson, is he going to be a number one? I mean, you've heard a ton about him, but he hasn't been out there on the field yet. And then you bring in C.J. Dupree at tight end. Cam Latu's moved on, so you don't have an established tight end right now that you think is ready to roll. That's got to be developed in the spring. I mean, I think they had a lot more returning talent last year. Now, some of it ended up not being what people thought, like a Jermaine Burton, even like a Ja'Cory Brooks.
You're welcome, by the way.
Was solid. I mean, Jermaine's a good player. Now, he's not Randy Moss. I mean, he thinks he is, but I mean, he's not. But again, there was a lot of expectation on the team last year because they had Bryce Young, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Mm-hmm. They had so much experience coming back on the defense. They had enough offensive weapons returning. That's why they were number one. This year, a lot of that experience defensively is gone. You've had a coordinator change. You've had an offensive coordinator change. You don't know what the offense is going to look like. And, again, quarterback, wide receiver, even running back to a degree, there is some uncertainty there, and tight end. So you don't really know. There's a lot of questions to be answered, but it makes it intriguing. And I think Alabama could sneak up on some people. I mean, certainly I think Georgia will be number one. I think they'll be the pick by a landslide to win the SEC. But, again, I think Alabama's going to be good. It's just going to be, my biggest concern is with Freddie Roach and Coleman Hutzler back at D-line and outside backer. I thought there were some, performance issues there. I didn't think they were as good as the year before. So, and with Pete Golding gone after he'd been there 5 years, what is the defense going to look like? To me, I think they have a good offensive staff. I think they've got the answers to the questions there, and they have talented players. But I'm more concerned defensively going into next year.
They're going to run the same stuff, Drew.
Oh, I know.
I mean, the questions are down the middle, which is always the worst. The questions are at linebacker and at safety. Who are they going to get to play those positions? That'll decide how they do this year. Because it doesn't do any good for everybody to do the right thing and the linebacker go 2 holes away from where he's supposed to be. And having Deontay Lawson, I said this 2 days ago, having him missing spring is a big deal. Because he's one of the guys they're hoping to fill that slot.
Yeah, he played a lot.
So I don't know who fills the slot. They have talented guys down there, but will they stay? Because the linebacker, you got to step up and be the leader, man. Everybody's looking at you. You got to make the tackles. You got to be solid.
Who is the defensive leader on a potential short list?
That
is a great question. I would think
Kool-Aid McKinstry, maybe.
Yeah, you can't have a corner be the corners are out on the corners are from
Island.
Pluto. They don't even see them.
Well, I mean, I'm just
the defensive linemen never see a corner.
Well, I mean, he played at a high level last year.
He
did.
Well, he could, but I think the leader has to be a defensive lineman. We need an Ashawn Robinson. We need some dogs. Ashawn Robinson. You think anybody said anything to him? Right?
Maybe
that's
once.
what we need. We need a defensive lineman. Listen, 2 years ago, I thought 98. What was his name? Did a great job of being a leader, and he just did it his senior year.
Are you talking about? Well, I know Fenarian Mathis was quite a good
Fenarian Mathis. So, but they need somebody to step up and be that leader. And
I mean, we'll see. I mean,
it doesn't have to be really vocal. It just has to be a leader.
Justin Eboigbe could be that guy. He missed most of last year, but he's played a lot of football. He was playing well before he got hurt.
It's just going to be interesting. A lot of questions on defense, but I know what they're going to do. They're going to they need to be fast, aggressive, and they need to tackle better. Mm-hmm. And they need to play behind their pads better. They didn't play. Sometimes they too high.
We'll be right back after this Sports Center timeout. Your phone calls are certainly welcome. We're not on tomorrow due to Alabama basketball. We'll be right back.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
One of the best-kept golf secrets in the Tennessee Valley is Cherokee Ridge. Cherokee Ridge truly offers golf at a higher level with immaculate greens set against a spectacular Appalachian backdrop. This 18-hole championship course takes every advantage of rolling hills, whispering woods, lakes, and streams. Interested in becoming a member? Their membership plans feature affordable options for couples, families, and individuals. Book your tee time today, 256-841-4551. Cherokee Ridge. Championship quality, affordable prices.
And WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. Welcome to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. Game 1 already underway. In fact, under 7 minutes to play at Madison Square Garden. This is an East Regional semifinal. The 7 seed of Michigan State taking on the 3 seed Kansas State. Each team has knocked down some 3-pointers. Michigan State 4 of 7 beyond the arc. K-State 3 of 8. And Sparty has a 4-point lead, 24-20, matching the largest lead either team has had in this game. I should say Michigan State's largest lead. K-State actually jumped out to a 5-0 lead. Sparty up 4, 6:22 to go in the opening quarter still to come. FAU and Tennessee, that is a 9-4. That will follow this game. Meanwhile, T-Mobile Arena in the West region in Las Vegas. How about that? Las Vegas hosting an NCAA regional semifinal and final. The 8 seed Arkansas about to take on the 4 seed Connecticut. UConn a 4-point favorite according to Caesars Sportsbook. The nightcap is pretty much the one everyone's keeping an eye on. Number 3 Gonzaga, or 3 seed Gonzaga against 2 seed UCLA. Only a light schedule in the NBA tonight. Knicks Florida road trip continues. They lost it to Miami last night. They're in Orlando tonight. New York starts the evening in the 5th position in the Eastern Conference. Brooklyn, meanwhile, is 6th, actually tied for 6th with Miami. The Nets play host to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Rematch from Tuesday night. Oklahoma City will take on the Paul George-less Los Angeles Clippers. That game will start coming up. It's about 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Clippers and the Thunder.
Coming up Friday, listen to these names: LeBron, KD, Paul George. I'll tell you which injured star will have the biggest impact on their team's playoff success. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, Friday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Final hour of the week is upon us. Don't give me that look. I know exactly how you're looking. It's a Thursday. I get that. But tomorrow at this time, it'll be Alabama taking on the Aztecs of San Diego State. Chris Stewart will have the play-by-play call there. As right now, it is the 7 seed leading it over the 3 seed. Michigan State leads it 24-22. 6 minutes left to go before halftime in that matchup.
March is Izzo.
January, February, Izzo. Yeah.
Yep.
Here we go again. And we may have that same conversation coming up this fall of here we go again, although there is a lot to change from last year to this year, be it on the staff as well as on the field. Nick Saban addressed the media earlier today and was asked about those early enrollees in this freshman class.
Well, I think the freshman class needs to come in and make a quick impact. I think the more guys you have that are mid-year guys, we don't try to talk guys into being mid-year guys, but if they want to do it, I think there's some advantages from a personal, from an academic transition standpoint, as well as you have more time to develop and learn football and be a little more ready to play in the fall. So, but I also look at it like 1/3 of our team, that's their first practice ever as a college player, which we've never had to deal with that before either. So we've got to have some patience in how we develop these players.
How many true impact freshmen will Alabama have this fall, Drew Orman?
Well, I'm going to channel my inner Nick Saban. That's a hypothetical question. I mean, they haven't even completed one week of practice.
He answered a hypothetical question earlier today.
He did, and he doesn't like them. And so it's kind of hard to predict the future. I do think it's a very talented freshman group. It was the number 1 rated class in the country for a reason. I don't think it's inconceivable to think double digits can make an impact.
Really?
And I'm not talking about starting. I'm just talking about in the 2 deep and win jobs and play. I mean, because they need some help along the defensive line. They need some depth. They need help at linebacker. Wes was already kind of representing some of that. They could even and what I mean by newcomers, I mean portal guys too. But
yeah,
I think they have also a JUCO on the defensive side of the ball too, Justin Jefferson, who it'll be a big spring for him. He can run like hell.
Really?
At least that's what I've been told. And he's from the Mississippi JUCO system. I know he clocked at Alabama's camp in the 4.4s. Sometimes there was even a
Pearl River Community College.
Pearl River in Mississippi. He was. What I was told is he was the fastest junior college linebacker in the country, and many people thought that Alabama signed the top 2 junior college prospects overall, and that was Malik Benson offensively and then Justin Jefferson defensively. Now, a lot with Jefferson is going to be Robert Bala and Coach Steele. They have to teach him this defense. It's very complicated. I mean, how quickly can he catch on? But I know this, he can really run. And then Wes made an interesting point, too. Deontay Lawson, who finished the year playing well and played well in the Sugar Bowl, is not practicing. He had surgery. He was the off-the-ball guy at the Will last year. Now, is he going to slide over to the mic? I mean, we'll see. Now, Trez Marshall was brought in from Georgia to maybe teach some of these young guys. Potentially he could start. I know situationally he was a good player for Georgia, but he wasn't a full-time starter. So we'll see. He certainly knows the scheme because I don't think the scheme is going to be much different than what he played in for Dan Lanning and then transitioning to Will Muschamp and Glenn Schumann. So what they're doing at Georgia. So we'll see. But, I mean, I think when you look at it, when Lawson gets back, I think he's going to be one of the two, either the Will or the Mike. A lot of times they'll slide them over. But it'll depend also on Kendrick Blackshire's development. This will be a golden opportunity for him. Jihad Campbell, Sean Murphy, a lot of guys that you saw in the Sugar Bowl. So, and you could tell some of them were swimming a little bit. They were paralysis by analysis. They got to learn the scheme. But Justin Jefferson has something you can't teach: a lot of speed. Now, if he can learn what to do, then he could be a guy that could make an impact, no question about it. I think
6'1", 215.
Yeah, he's not. He's and that's before he joined the weight program. For example, Rock McElderry from Anniston, offensive lineman, he's already lost 50 pounds from what I've been told. So, they can lose it, they can gain it in the strength and conditioning program. So, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of shape some of these guys are in going into the fall. But, again, I think inside linebacker is a place where a newcomer could make an impact like a Justin Jefferson. Certainly, I think outside backer, they've got a lot of talent coming back. I'm not convinced. Now, it just depends, too. Is Keon Keeley, is he going to be a jack or is he going to be a defensive end? We don't know yet. Now, he certainly has the talent to maybe force his way onto the depth chart. No question about it. I think he's a very talented player, maybe one of the top, 3 players overall in the country, regardless of position. And I guess that's the one thing that I'll give Coleman Hetzler credit for. I know I've criticized him, but he was in the middle of that recruitment. And Keon Keeley flipped from Notre Dame. He's very talented. So he's another guy to watch that could potentially make an impact.
Justin Jefferson looks like he's 30.
Yeah.
Does he?
He looks like a businessman, a 30-year-old businessman.
Well, yeah. I mean, hopefully he's ready to roll. I mean,
I don't think he weighs 225. His
head 215. He's listed at 215.
Well, he's on this. And
okay.
It's 225.
It's already bumped him up 10.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like it, too. He looks the part.
Yeah, I mean, and then, they've got some defensive linemen that they signed as well, like a James Smith. Is he going to be mature enough from Carver Montgomery to play? He certainly was very ballyhooed coming out of high school. Somebody that could, at least win a job as a backup. Is he somebody to watch? And then, like I've already mentioned, Caleb Downs. We'll see. I mean, they've got a lot of guys that they're going to give an opportunity to win jobs. And on the offensive line, Caden Proctor, I know there's been a lot of buzz about him. Can he force his way into the mix at guard? I don't think he'll be one of the tackles, just simply because I think J.C. Latham and Elijah Pritchett are going to be the favorites there. Now, but that we've seen Alabama move a tackle inside the guard for a year. Could he do that? We'll see. I mean, so he's another young player to watch that I think is very, very good. That I've heard has made an impression early. Justice Haynes, the son of Veron Haynes. You know Veron very well, Steve, but Justice, I mean, he's talented enough to make an impact, even though the running back room is still extremely talented. I know when we were off the air, Wes was asking about Jamarian Miller, and I'll just let everybody know he's now Jam Miller. Now, I don't know if this is for T-shirts or jerseys or what the hell it is for, but, some of these guys have changed their names. Kool-Aid, when he was a freshman, he was changed officially to Kool-Aid in the program. But I will say this, at least he has lived up to it. He has lived up to it.
J.A.M.
Miller.
Yeah. Sophomore from Tyler, Texas.
Yeah, I tell you, the kid can play. That kid's good. He could be really good.
No, he really
haven't
impressed.
met a whole lot of kids named Jam.
No, but I'll just say this: he ran like his hair was on fire and that he was in a roller derby, because that's what Jam makes it sound like.
I don't know if I'd want a running back named Jam. I think I'd want a running back named like Speed or just.
Well, there was Bam Morris.
Depends on where you're running.
I mean, come on, Byron Bam Morris. He was good.
Bam Bam.
I don't care what their names are, as long as they play hard and don't fumble. I mean, that's nowhere to do. I had a fullback that used to hit me in the back every time.
Was it Bo Wright?
No, it wasn't Bo Wright. That's a good guess, though. So he just fell down. He's run a touchdown against Penn State and Tennessee. He just fell down, just tripped and fell down, and fumbled against Penn State. Lost the ball. Nobody touched him. Just kind of tripped over his own. Anyway, but it's not fun when a fullback going full speed hits you. I told him, you need to open your damn eyes. So wherever my butt goes, that's where you go. Just go. And he started doing that. I did threaten to not kill him, but
just about.
Yeah.
So you did, but you didn't mean it. You did, but you didn't mean it.
Well, I was just trying to get a point across.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it.
He's a good friend of mine to this day. Yeah. So, I mean, he knew it was the heat of the moment.
Bryce is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. This is Bryce Old, not Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I didn't know y'all wasn't going to be on tomorrow. That's why I called in. Well, how y'all see the ball game?
Well, I like Bama.
It had to be. I mean, there wasn't 7, 8 point favorites.
7.
It had to be it's a big upset. If Alabama doesn't, but it's possible. If Alabama shows up and plays and shoots the threes at 33% or more, they're going to win. They'll win the game.
Yep.
If they don't, they won't. I mean, it's just kind of like if they show up and play, but they haven't showed up against Oklahoma. I didn't watch the UConn game, but it didn't look like they showed up.
Well, they played, but it was really tough because when they had to play UConn, they had just played a 4 overtime game against North Carolina.
Yeah. Anyway, so there have been a couple times they haven't showed up, but not many. And I think that I mean, if you watch the guys warm up, I'm not kidding. You just warm up. They're having so much fun.
Yeah, very loose.
Very loose, and you can tell they just enjoy being around each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it, of course, winning does a lot of that, but
it helps.
Yeah. I just think they're everybody talks about how this team might not be as talented as this or that. I think we're going to look back and see how talented this team really is. I think
I've not said that.
Yeah, I think that they are very talented.
There's a reason I brought up that with Richard Hendricks about 2 years ago, and it's not even close in my opinion.
Yeah, there are 4 freshmen on that team playing a lot. It's just I think Quinterly playing like he is, that gives that changes everything. That gives them another way to win. Yeah. That gives them like a 4th way to win. Because nobody matches up with that kid and with the guys shooting when they're shooting well. When they can lay back a little bit, it helps. But when they're shooting well, it gives them more room to work.
And it's to credit Nato's credit and Jaden Bradley, but moving JQ to the starting lineup, starting in the SEC tournament, where they could play off of Jaden Bradley because he's not a great shooter. You can't play off of JQ. And watching this team, I got a chance to see them up close a lot mid-January forward. And about a month ago, he started getting his juice back, where he could just go, where he could go by anybody. Yeah. And when JQ can go by anybody, it takes his game to another level. He's got a swag to him where I could just tell in the SEC tournament championship game, Wes was there too. He was playing against Wade Taylor, who was to that point the MVP of the tournament for Texas A&M and would have been if they won it. But he had torched Alabama a week before. JQ didn't start in that game. JQ came out on a mission like, okay, I'm fixing to show this dude that I'm better than him. And that's basically what he did. And he torched Wade Taylor. And Wade Taylor didn't score his first basket, I think, till the second half. And Alabama just beat the ever-loving tar out of Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Well, I was there all 3 days, and it looks to me like they got better each game, They just put it all together in the tournament.
It's almost as if that last game of the regular season, the loss at Texas A&M, they almost needed that reset button because, boy, did they ever reset it. And that first game in the tournament, I was like, this could be dangerous. And then all of a sudden in the second round, boy, oh, boy. I mean, and they've been rolling.
Drew, all the teams out here, which one would not want to play right now?
As far as mine. If you're Alabama?
Right now, Alabama. Which one would you rather not play?
Houston. And I know they beat Houston, but I watched Houston.
I would say Gonzaga.
Oh, I think Gonzaga. They could take Gonzaga again because I think they would D up better. And I know Gonzaga can put 5 guys on the floor that maybe can score at times, but Gonzaga is not a great defensive team.
I'm just saying
Houston is.
The team that could have beat Alabama
I think either Houston or UConn.
Is Arkansas. Arkansas played unbelievable.
Very capable of beating Alabama. Very capable.
With the way they played this past weekend. Now, they might not play like that again, but
unlike weekend. Jackson behind the glass, I would love to see 3 SEC teams make the Final Four.
I got to go with UConn tonight.
That's right. It is possible.
It's possible.
Tennessee, Alabama, and Arkansas.
No, I have UConn going. I'm just saying Saturday, Arkansas could have beat anybody because Kansas played good. I mean, it wasn't like Kansas played bad. Arkansas played – that Council played unbelievable. And Davis.
Debo, yeah.
Yeah, but he just missed his first shot. The game just started, so. UConn made a turnover the first time, though. They look like they're a little out of sync right now anyway.
It's early.
It's early.
Thank you, Bryce. Appreciate the phone call, sir. And again, for those of you that are just joining us, we are not on tomorrow. Pre-game for the Crimson Tide Sports Network will be at 4:30, Jackson. 4:30 tomorrow for the Alabama broadcast. You'll hear Chris Stewart over our airwaves. You will not, I repeat, you will not hear it on our stream at all, as the NCAA has the rights to stream, but you will be able to hear it over our airwaves right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Let's take our first time out. Final call for phone calls comes up on the other side.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's North Alabama Mortgage.
Hello, listeners. I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
When was the last time you changed the oil in your car? You probably know the answer to that without having to think too hard. When was the last time you've had your home's air conditioning system checked? If the answer is, I've never done that before, you should listen to the rest of this commercial. Your home's heating and cooling system is very likely the most expensive appliance you have. You've got your refrigerator, you got your washer and dryer, your TV, and other electronic devices. None of these items come close to the investment you have in your home's heating and cooling system. And what's even more startling is your home's comfort system uses more energy than all of your other appliances combined. Become a member of the Environmental Comfort Systems Comfort Care Club, and we'll make sure your home's comfort system is operating the way it's supposed to. So give Environmental Comfort Systems a call today. We are your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, or visit our website at envcomfort.com. Alabama license number 92314. Environmental Comfort Systems.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware, but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, Managing Partner of University Kia, letting you know we are proud supporters of Crimson Tide football. Stop in the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com for all our great offers. And get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today. Because we want to see you in a Kia. Roll Tide!
Mama told me when I was young.
Final call for phone calls. Gonna re-rack an interview that Wes and I did yesterday with the one and only Clark Kellogg, who is on CBS here tonight as the Sweet 16 is upon us. And for those of you that follow Division II college basketball, as of course we're your home for UH Charger basketball, the finals are set. It'll be undefeated, number 1 seed in Nova Southeastern, the Sharks. They defeated Cal San Bernardino 94-87 was that final score. They will take on the 2 seed of West Liberty. As West Liberty down, one of my favorite stories this year was Black Hills State, and they made the run all the way into the Final Four, but West Liberty downs them 87-82. So it'll be Coach Crutchfield, who is the current head coach in his 5th year at Nova. He came from West Liberty And he's going to play his old school for the championship coming up on Saturday. So
live on CBS.
That's right. And it'll be up at the Ford Center in Evansville, Indiana. It's a great game. It's a great venue to call a game. I've been there a couple of times, mostly with hockey, with the Huntsville Havoc that takes on Evansville. But Chargers did play Lincoln Memorial up in Evansville and won over Lincoln Memorial in Evansville. But nonetheless, congratulations to the top 2 seeds as they move on to the championship round on Saturday. All right. In terms of 1 seeds, there's 2 1 seeds left, and it was asked earlier today on Pardon the Interruption to Jay Billis.
We'll get you out of here on this. We need a quick answer. We'll look ahead to tomorrow. There are 2 number 1 seeds left in the draw, Houston and Alabama. Which one do you think will have the easier time advancing?
I think it's Alabama. Alabama's playing San Diego State, who's no joke on defense. They're physical and they're men. They can really guard. They don't score as easily as Alabama, and Alabama's the most talented team. They got the best player in Brandon Miller, who's had some injury issues in the tournament, but they can go a lot of different ways. They're great defensively. They can score, and I think they have a much easier time than Houston, who's got an NBA caliber shot-making team that they're playing in Miami.
71-61 Alabama. That's my prediction. Move on to the Elite Eight for the second time ever.
You feel just as good at Jay Billis picking your tide there, West Neighbors?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel more worried you are. I feel more. Long as damn Love Child's pulling against him, we got a chance.
Well,
so you're not pulling for any SEC team, Love Child?
No, he's not.
No.
He's pulling for Denver Jones in the portal to Auburn.
I don't even know who's Denver Jones.
Former Buckhorn Buck. He's at FIU.
Yeah. I got you.
Could end up with the Tigers.
That was a very obscure reference, but
so somebody called about Buck Johnson's son. Was he still at Auburn? Thought he was.
No,
he's not at Auburn. He's at UAB.
He was at Auburn. Then went to UAB. This year he finished at Chattanooga.
Oh, he
to show you
did.
the transfer portal. Wow. They got to the finals of the Southern Conference tournament. He played very well. He had a big game against Bucky McMillan and the Sanford Bulldogs to send them home in the quarterfinals. Why did he leave
Auburn? I saw where he had a couple of double-digit games last year.
I think he just felt like with Auburn's changing roster, I heard Bruce Pearl wanted him to stay, but Bruce even had him running point by the end of his last year at Auburn because of the injuries and the shortcomings on the roster. But I think he felt like he wasn't guaranteed or going to play maybe as many minutes as he hoped. He transferred to UAB, and that didn't go as he had hoped with Andy Kennedy, and he transferred his last season to Chattanooga, but he had a good year. He averaged about 13 points a game.
Not bad.
Was an all-Southern Conference guard, and then they got their center back late, and Chattanooga made a run. I think they were the 7 seed and got all the way to the finals of the Southern Conference tournament before the Furman Paladins.
Mm-hmm. I think we all know that name.
Who ended Tim Blowhard's bracket early when Tim Blowhard said that Alabama would be the first 1 seed home because they would certainly lose to Virginia in the Sweet 16, and then if they didn't, they would lose to Arizona. And, of course, both those teams lost in the first round. Stay in your lane, Blowhard.
That's the truth. He's just a hater. We all know it. I mean, he was.
Well,
you remember our last interview here?
Yeah, I do. Timmy B did tweet out his projected new Final Four. This is his new Final Four. This was a day ago. He has Houston, UCLA, Kansas State, and Alabama.
Oh, God.
Heading to Houston. Go. And that's Houston cutting down the nets.
Well, of course he does. Which means they got the kiss of death.
Poor Houston. They don't have a shot.
Means they'll probably lose to Miami.
Be sure and check out our latest zone deal that launches tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. It is
see us out there.
Cherokee Ridge. That's right. The boys will be there in the morning, and I'm sure Scott Tyson will not bring his clubs.
You be on the tee box?
I will not. I will be.
I'm sure maybe Scott might bring his clubs.
Oh, I'm sure he will. He'll play at least 18.
At least.
Yeah. And then eat 3 times.
Let's take our final time out. Be sure and check out the boys tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you here on The Drive on Monday.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood,